12.12b has been released, so we've got you guys covered with an update on the best solo carries for every single role. But before we get into it, be sure to check out SkillCapped if you want to truly get better at League of Legends. We're the only service that offers a money-back guarantee if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. We do this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't work for you, you shouldn't pay. Learn more at the end of this video or click the link in the description below. With the likes of Tom Kench and Fiora dropping down in recent patches, it's made room for Tryndamere to rise up. Trynd was indirectly buffed back in 12.11, which is the major factor for his resurgence. A new build has provided Trynd with even more power, as a Blade of the Ruin King Rush is perfect for the current meta. Very few Trynd players in NA and EU are playing the build, but it's becoming super popular over in Korea. Due to Blade's percent health damage, the durability update gave it a nice indirect buff, which is why we're seeing it built more on so many different champions. Against squishy comps though, running the standard crit build is completely viable too. If you're unsure of who to ban when playing Trynd, Teemo or Darius are two of the better options. As for the rune page, grab Lethal Tempo with Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand. Optimal secondaries are Second Wind and Unflinching. Darius is going to lock down the #1 solo carry slot for 12.12b. We've had Darius in our top 3 for multiple patches now, and he's become even stronger due to many other top laners being nerfed. Darius loves this meta where fights last longer, so he can stack his passive and mow down everyone in his path with ult resets. Build versatility for Darius is at an all-time high, especially in regards to your second purchase. Rush item is Trinity or Stride Breaker. If you need the added sticking power to lock on to mobile champions, then Stride is great. Otherwise, Trinity is going to be the better option in extended skirmishes. Death's Dance is the most common second pickup, however, Deadman's should not be slept on against heavy AD comps. Maw is a viable second pickup as well if you're playing against heavy magic damage. Run Conqueror as the keystone with Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand. Nimbus Cloak and Celerity are great for secondaries. A new addition to our top lane top 3 for 12.12b is going to be Sejuani. Sej has started to see a ton more play, especially over in Korea and solo queue, and has proven to be an exceptionally strong pick. Laning power is great, and nobody expects the kill threat with Ignite. The percent health damage built into Sejuani's kit works perfectly for the more durable meta. Teamfight power is insanely strong, as Sejuani has some of the best long-range pick for any top laner. Sejuani's build is extremely cheap, allowing you to hit a super fast mid-game spike. Frostfire into Frozen Heart is way less expensive than the majority of bruiser builds, so you can shut down those champs really well. Darius is one of the more difficult meta matchups for Sej, so it's a good idea to ban him out. Optimal rune page includes Grasp with Demolish, Second Wind, and Unflinching. Biscuits and Cosmic Insight work best for secondaries. Last call for your Volibear free elo, as his OP status will be chopped heading into 12.13. For some reason, Volley wasn't on the 12.12b nerf list though, so you have another little while to rank up with the bear. Volley's incredibly strong engage power being so simple to execute, and his ability to abuse Chemtank into Deadman's is what makes him such a solo queue god. In the past, Volley was plagued by his low mobility and being easily kited, but that's no longer an issue at all. For a tank, the damage you're able to output is great, so the fact Riot will be targeting Volley's base damage on W in 12.13 is no surprise. PTA works way too well as Volley's keystone, as it's so easy for him to proc almost instantly. This helps to amplify Volley's early skirmish, and if he gets the jump on his opponent, there's no way he's losing out. Wukong nerfed for 12.12b opens up the playing field for another hard engaged tank as Zac joins the jungle top 3. Zac has been quietly flying under the radar in recent patches, as his power level post durability update is amazing. As more and more players realize how broken Demonic Embrace is for Zac, his win rate continues to rise. The Demonic percent health damage combined with Zac's percent health damage from W makes him the perfect tank for the current meta. Let's also not forget that tank items were buffed a couple patches back, which has been a huge help for Zac. As for the core build, pick up Sunfire Aegis first, go into Demonic Embrace second, and round it all out with a Thornmail or Spirit Visage third. Runes for Zac include Aftershock with Font of Life, Conditioning, and Revitalize. Triumph and Tenacity are the go-to secondaries. Tank Diana has finally made its way into mainstream, and we're quite surprised Riot has no plans to nerf the build in the coming patches. We've been covering Tank Diana all the way back to 12.8 when it was played in less than 2% of games, and it's now played in over 30%. Diana becomes this unkillable consistent damage beast that has incredibly strong engage power. One of the downsides to playing full AP Diana is that you need to pick and choose your openings carefully, or else you'll get blown up. Tank Diana can just YOLO engage into fights whenever she wants and still nearly one-shot squishies with a full combo. If we were to guess, Riot will end up nerfing Diana's passive, as it's the main reason to why Tank Diana is able to exist. The core build consists of a Nashor's Rush into Sunfire Aegis 2nd and Demonic Embrace 3rd. Conqueror is the best keystone, followed by Triumph, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace. Run Freeboots and Cosmic Insight for secondaries. Sylas has been in a really good spot the past couple patches and joins the top 3 for 12.12b. Sylas loves a slightly slower meta where he can abuse the low cooldown sustain from W. The fact Grievous Wounds were practically gutted as well means Sylas' ability to sustain throughout fights has shot up drastically. Kassadin is one of the few matchups Sylas players tend to struggle against, so he's a solid ban option. We're keeping our eye on a couple of new emerging setups for Sylas, the first being a Night Harvester Rush. Sylas loves his ability haste, and Harvester now has the most haste for any AP mythic after its recent buffs. This was coupled with Everfrost being nerfed, so there are multiple factors leading to Night Harvester being a more practical pickup. Of course, you're losing out on a substantial amount of mana though, so it does come with its downsides. Another interesting setup is Liandry's with Demonic Embrace. Situationally, we feel this build is extremely overlooked when playing into more bruiser or tankier comps. Standard core build, however, is Everfrost into Zhonya's and Cosmic Drive. Best rune page for Sylas is Conqueror with Presence of Mind, Tenacity, and Last Stand. Second Wind and Unflinching are optimal secondaries. If you're going to try the Night Harvester setup, then running Mana Flow in secondaries is going to be best. Yone has seen a really nice boost in strength over the past couple patches due to newfound power from Blade of the Ruined King Rush. The early game snowball power from Blade is amazing as you deal more burst and consistent damage than Shield Bow. When you factor in all the attack speed from Lethal Tempo, your extended trade power is absolutely nuts. 2-item spike of Blade into Shield Bow provides a ton of sustain and the ability for you to easily win out by taking short trades in the side lane. Consider banning Akali when playing Yone, as she is one of the more common matchups that can give you issues. The complete rune page is Lethal Tempo with Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand. Bone Plating and Revitalize are the best secondaries. Arguably the most consistent mid laner that you can play for 12.12b is Viktor. Vic fits into the meta extremely well, as he's a champion that wants a bit of a slower early game to where he can scale into his augment spike. If you haven't tried the Mana Crystal start strategy in easier matchups, then definitely look to do so. You're able to hit a super quick Lost Chapter buy and accelerate into a fast mid-game spike. The consistent damage Vic is able to output in teamfights from Q and the tick damage from ult allow him to thrive post-durability update. Let's not ignore the fact Viktor still has the ability to one-shot squishies later on with his full combo, so he can do a little bit of everything. Ahri being the most played mid in 12.12 and a more difficult matchup for Vic is a very good ban choice. Build for Viktor is a Luden's Rush into Shadowflame or Lichbane 2nd and Zhonya's or Rabadon's 3rd. For runes, look to grab First Strike with Freeboots, Futures Market, and Cosmic Insight. Mana Flow and Transcendence are the way to go for secondaries. Seraphine is seeing a small nerf for 12.12b, but she's still going to be stronger than she was before her buffs and will remain in the top 3. It's actually pretty unfathomable that a champion in Season 12 would be able to reach a 57% win rate, but that was the case with Seraphine throughout 12.12. You can't even argue that one-tricks are inflating her win rate either, as her play rate shot up drastically. What makes Seraphine as a bot lane carry so strong is her low-risk, high-reward kit. It doesn't even matter if you lose lane with Seraphine. As long as you provide your team with shields and hit the occasional ult, you're going to be useful. Reality is, though, you can actually go even or win lane in most matchups, and the longer games last, the more devastating Seraphine becomes. All it takes is one good ult on a high-priority target at 30 minutes for you to single-handedly win the game. For the build, rush Liandry's into Archangel 2nd and Rylai's 3rd. Aerie is the best keystone with Mana Flow, Transcendence, and Gathering Storm. Run Presence of Mind and Coup de Grace for secondaries. Twitch is finally starting to get the recognition he deserves, as he's a phenomenal ADC for 12.12b. Twitch is one of the few ADCs who is able to abuse Blade of the Ruined King, which makes him so great for the current meta. The ability to shred more durable champs is perfect, and with enchanters as broken as they are right now, Twitch is really able to thrive once he reaches a couple items. Play Twitch with someone like Lulu, Yuumi, Janna, or Taric, and the enemy team would be better off just using their dodge. Complete core build is a Blade of the Ruined King Rush into Kraken Slayer 2nd and Hurricane or Rage Blade 3rd. Hurricane is great when the enemy team has a beefy frontline, however if you're playing against more squishies, then Rage Blade works best. Vagar V2 made a nice Twitter video outlining this a couple of days ago. For runes, Lethal Tempo and PTA can both work well. If you're playing against squishier comps, then PTA will be more valuable due to the quicker burst, but into more durable comps, Lethal Tempo is great as you'll be able to reliably stack it. Zeri nerf yet again will even further solidify Jhin as a top 3 ADC. Jhin has been such a valuable ADC to have in your champion pool for most of Season 12 because there have been few patches where he hasn't been a top 5 pick. Less engaged supports being played and more poke champions coming into meta has led to amazing synergy for Jhin. Not having to deal with Leona, Alistar, or Thresh as much makes laning as Jhin so much easier. Champs like Xerath, Karma, Ashe, Seraphine, and Lux are all being picked a ton right now in solo queue and are near free win duos with Jhin. Since Eclipse is being nerfed for ranged champs in 12.13, the lethality builds are likely dead now moving forward. Crit is still great though, and should be your main focus with a Gale Force Rush into the Collector second and Rapid Fire Cannon third. Best rune page for Jhin is Fleet Footwork with Presence of Mind, Bloodline, and Coup de Grace. Grab Celerity and Gathering Storm for secondaries. If the Enchanter meta is boring you to death, then look into picking up Amumu, as he's currently the best engaged support. Amumu's early game is so much better with the mana cost lowered on Q, while his all-in power at level 6 has shot up in power as well. The lockdown and gank assist Amumu provides allows him to net so many early kills for his team. The Even Shroud completion is the spike where you can start taking over in the 2v2, as the burst potential with an all-in combo is extremely high. Thornmail and Frozen Heart are great second and third pickups. Glacial or Aftershock are both great keystone options for Amumu. Into burstier champs, running Aftershock for the added durability works best, but if you're into a more consistent damage comp, roll with Glacial. It feels like we've had Renata in our support top 3 ever since her release, as she's been the most consistently strong support pick. No nerfs planned for Renata coming up in 12.13, so she's going to remain a top 3 support for a while longer. Renata may not have the same kind of catch power as Blitz or the ability to protect carries like Janna, but she offers up a little bit of everything, which makes her unique. Q and Ultimate provide great CC lockdown, while W and E are amazing tools to buff up carries and allow them to thrive in teamfights. If you're still running Putrefier's second item every single game on Renata, then start adapting your build. Chemtech is fine if the enemy comp has multiple healing champs, but it's just not worth it as an every game pickup. Ardent Sensor is highly underrated right now in the second item slot. For runes, roll with Guardian as the keystone, followed by Shield Bash, Bone Plating, and Revitalize. Zombie Ward and Relentless Hunter are optimal secondaries. The most undervalued champion in the entire game for 12.12b, who takes the final support slot, is Taric. With Senna dropping down due to her direct nerfs, Taric takes her place as he's become a super powerful pick after his recent buffs. Taric has always had mana issues because of the fact he wants to spam Q out in skirmishes, so Q mana cost being reduced has been a huge win. Once you complete Winter's Approach and have a ton of mana, Taric turns into arguably the #1 skirmishing support in the game. As we all know by now, champions who can thrive in those extended fights are the best in meta, which is why Taric is rated so highly. Core build is the Locket Rush into Winter's Approach second and Knight's Vow third. Frozen Heart is also great in place of Knight's Vow if the enemy comp is heavy AD or have many auto-reliant champs. If you just want one rune page to spam every game, then you can't go wrong with Guardian, but Glacial Augment is also very strong in the easier matchups. Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about SkillCapped. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week, with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent Challenger players into ELO Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you are serious about improving. So there's a quick update on the best solo queue carries for all roles in 12.12b. Thank you guys so much for watching. Best of luck in solo queue, and we will see you back soon.